Young Philly didn't just fall off.
Accused of serious sexual assault allegation.
He got launched into a legal nightmare that turned his entire career upside down. And honestly, the way this whole thing unraveled is absolutely insane. From sold out shows to courtrooms in Australia, this man went from being one of the UK's most beloved creators to someone brands won't touch with a 10-foot pole. So buckle up, because we're about to break down Young Philly went from carpool karaoke with the biggest names in music to posting his feet on Snapchat while waiting for a trial that could send him to prison for years. But before we get into the absolute chaos that is Young Philly's current situation, let's rewind. Because this guy wasn't just some random YouTuber, he was everywhere. And I mean everywhere. Young Philly, real name Andres Felipe Valenca Barrentos, built an empire out of pure charisma and energy. He started making comedy sketches back in 2013, and by the time he linked up with Chunks, they became the dynamic duo of British YouTube. Their chemistry was unmatched. Every video they dropped together was pulling millions of views. They weren't just content creators, they were shaping an entire generation's sense of humor. And it wasn't just YouTube either. This man crossed over into mainstream media like it was nothing. He was hosting shows on BBC, appearing on Soccer Aid in front of 60,000 people, showing up on The Great Celebrity Bake Off. He even had his own show with Harry Pinero on Channel 4.
Hey, I'm Philly, and it's your boy H. Splatter Sauce, Harry Pinero. And this is the Philly and Harry Show!
Therefore, brands like Nike, Foot Asylum, and ASOS were throwing money at him. He was the guy everyone wanted to work with because he brought energy, he brought views, and he brought that authentic connection with young audiences that most celebrities just can't fake. Not to mention his music career was popping too. Songs like La Pila and Day to Day were actually charting. So he wasn't just a YouTuber trying to rap, he was legitimately making waves in the UK music scene. So it's clear the guy had range. Comedy, music, presenting, he could do it all. And for a while it seemed like nothing could stop him. He had cleared his mom's debts, bought his sister a house, and was living in a London penthouse that looked like something out of a movie.
You see what's going on here? Lush interiors have provided the suede bed for the new apartment. I'm very grateful, I'm very happy.
The kid who came to the UK as a refugee from Colombia at 2 years old had made it. He was living the dream. But then September 2024 happened, and everything changed overnight. Young Philly was in Australia on tour, performing at venues, meeting fans, doing what he does best. On September 28th, he performed at Bar One nightclub in Perth. Social media clips from that night showed packed crowds, everyone singing along, and Philly looking like he was having the time of his life. But according to prosecutors, later that same night, something happened in his hotel room. A woman in her 20s alleged that she was assaulted. And we're not talking about minor accusations here. We're talking about serious charges. Multiple counts of assault, choking, and acts she claims she did not consent to. The details that came out were disturbing. Prosecutors presented photographs to the court, images they said showed injuries across the woman's body. They described these injuries as being beyond what any reasonable person could consent to. They called it a history of violent acts written across her body. Now, these photos weren't shown to the public, but the judge saw them, and the judge decided there was enough evidence for the case to proceed. So, just over a week later, on October 8th, Australian police arrested Young Philly in Brisbane. That's over 2,000 miles away from Perth. They extradited him back to face charges, 4 counts of penetration without consent, 3 counts of assault causing bodily harm, 1 count of choking, all relating to that same night in September. And just like that, the guy who was on top of the world was sitting in a courtroom fighting for his freedom. Now, as you can probably imagine, the internet went absolutely nuclear. Within hours, every brand he'd ever worked with started distancing themselves.
Destroying his entire career pretty much overnight.
Let me just say, his life's pretty much over. But I can tell you all of his TV contracts, all the commercials, all the brand deals, which he makes most of his money.
That's drop.
Foot Asylum suspended all contracts immediately. The FA scrapped their cooking show that was supposed to feature Premier League stars. ASOS deleted every piece of promotional content with his face on it. Heinz pulled their secret sauce collaboration that had literally just launched. Even the Sidemen quietly took down their 20 versus 1 video with him. which was one of their most viral pieces of content ever. Even his upcoming dating show with Gymshark got cancelled before it even aired, and lastly, the Chunks and Philly live tour was pulled from every ticketing platform. So in less than 48 hours, young Philly went from being one of the most bankable names in British entertainment to completely radioactive. Nobody wanted to be associated with him, and that's when the silence became deafening. His friends, his collaborators, the people he'd built his career alongside, they all went quiet. Chunks, his best friend and creative partner for years, released a short statement basically saying he couldn't comment because of the ongoing legal case, and that was it. No support, no defense, just legal distance.
So I understand many of you want my reaction on it. As this is an ongoing court case, I hope you guys can understand that I can't and won't be commenting on it publicly. So yeah, I've just come on here to basically let you know the reasons as to why I can't.
And here's where it gets even messier. Old clips started resurfacing, videos of Philly being overly flirty with women, making inappropriate jokes, and pushing boundaries. Stuff that might have seemed like harmless banter at the time suddenly looked different through this new lens.
Okay, what club you going in London?
Libertine.
I'ma see you there, baby girl. Yeah? Cut that one now, car. It's about to go bad.
People started questioning everything. Was this who he really was all along? Were there warning signs we all missed? We all know the internet loves a pile-on, and young Philly became the target. But the legal drama was just getting started. While he was out on bail in Australia, he got caught driving 98 miles per hour in a 62 mile per hour zone. He pleaded guilty to reckless driving, which is not a great look when you're already facing serious criminal charges. Then in June 2025, prosecutors hit him with 2 additional counts, bringing the total number of charges even higher, all stemming from that same alleged incident in September. Now, young Philly's been maintaining his innocence this entire time. He pleaded not guilty to all charges back in March 2025. His trial is set for July 2026, a full 10-day trial in Perth District Court. But here's the thing, he's not even in Australia anymore. In September 2025, a judge amended his bail conditions and allowed him to return to the UK. But it came with strings attached. He had to put up another $100,000. He has to keep location services on all his devices at all times. He has to stay at a specific address in Kent, and he has to be back in Australia by January 7th, 2026, and surrender his passport the next day. So why did they let him leave? Well, most people think it's because he's running out of money. Legal fees in a case like this are absolutely brutal. We're talking hundreds of thousands, maybe millions by the time this is all over. And young Philly, while he was making good money, wasn't Mr. Beast rich. He can't just throw infinite cash at lawyers. Paying for accommodation in Perth, renting cars, daily expenses, legal fees, it all adds up fast. His lawyers probably argued he couldn't afford to stay there for another year waiting for trial, and the court agreed to let him go home under strict monitoring. But coming back to the UK hasn't exactly been a triumphant return. The guy who used to post daily vlogs and comedy sketches is now posting the weirdest content on Snapchat. And I mean weird. Videos of his feet, close-ups of his face with no context, clips of him eating with captions like "Thank you Jesus for this meal," no talking, no explanation, just bizarre snippets of his life. So people are genuinely concerned. Some think he's having a mental breakdown, others think he's just trying to make money through Snapchat's creator program because it's one of the few platforms that'll still pay him. Because then there's the pork video. Young Philly posted a Snapchat talking about how he's back eating pork after years of avoiding it.
I'm back on the pork. I was sleeping for years. I'm back on the pork.
He said he watched some documentary that put him off, but now he's realized he was playing himself, and pork is top tier. Now, on the surface, that's just a guy talking about food. But the timing? Suspicious as hell. His closest friends, Chunks and Harry Pinero, are both Muslim. They've completely cut ties with him publicly, and now he's posting about eating pork. A lot of people think this is him throwing shade, basically saying, if you're going to abandon me, I'm going to abandon everything we had in common. And if that is the case, it's petty, it's messy, and honestly, it tracks with someone who's watching their entire life fall apart. Because the reality is, Young Philly is isolated. His family is supporting him, his sister posted a photo with him showing solidarity, but everyone else, gone. The content creator community that used to embrace him won't touch him. The brands that made him rich have moved on. And the public that used to love him is split between people who think he's guilty and people who think he deserves a fair trial before judgment. But here's the thing that nobody's really talking about. Whether Young Philly is found guilty or innocent, his career is pretty much over. Well, at least the career he had. Because even if he walks out of that courtroom a free man, the damage is done. The allegations alone were enough to destroy everything he had built. That's the reality of being a public figure in 2025. Your reputation is everything, and once it's gone, it's almost impossible to get back. So now that the trial is set to start in July 2026, that's when we'll finally get answers. Prosecutors say they have strong evidence, including CCTV footage and those photographs. Young Philly's defense will have its chance to present their side. But until then, he's stuck in limbo, posting weird Snapchats, living under strict bail conditions, watching his former friends move on without him, and waiting to see if he'll spend the next decade in an Australian prison. So from refugee kid to YouTube star to courtroom defendant, that's the story of Young Philly. And honestly, it's one of the most dramatic falls from grace we've seen in a long time. Whether you believe the allegations or not, there's no denying that the guy who once had everything now has almost nothing. And that's just the reality of how fast things can change when you're living your life in the public eye. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.